I heard there was this podcast, yo, about something funny like wrestling and so. And you really care about wrestling, don't you? There are drop kicks and leases all over the board, and then something called a wrestling hold. It's a super duper fun podcast about wrestling. That wrestling show. That wrestling show. That wrestling show. That wrestling show. Well, Fro and Bill and maybe a guest or two is here to hold your hand and guide you through a podcast about wrestling. We have a lot of extreme fun, and that's without the gun, because I needed something to rhyme fun with. That wrestling show, that wrestling show, that wrestling show, that wrestling show. Well, sit your behinds gently down and listen to our podcast sound, and try to guess this week's pro question. You win a lot of cool things, and also help Bill with his bills. That's a super duper fun competition. That wrestling show. 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 That wrestling show.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to That Wrestling Show, the only podcast where all pro wrestling matters. And I hope you all enjoyed your Wrestlemania weekend. Didn't you, Fro?
Oh, we're going to talk about my Wrestlemania weekend.
That is the future of music, Fro, and I am the future of music, Bill. Here, this week, we are going to have a lot to discuss. We're going to get into WrestleMania momentarily.
But let's talk about the most important news of the week right away, out of the gate. I mean, it's bigger than Facebook.
The whole Facebook trial.
Yes, it's bigger than fake news. It's bigger than absolutely everything. Alberto Del Rio is no longer with TNA.
Yay! It's actually funny that you mentioned that, because just a little while ago, Alberto Del Rio broke his silence. He did an interview with the Sporting News, which is a sports magazine, like Sports Illustrated or ESPN, for those of you who don't know. During his interview about his, I can't believe this is true, his MMA company, Combat Americas, they talked about the issue leading to his termination. On why he missed last Friday's show, because for those who did not watch, he was supposed to be on the big Impact versus Lucha Underground show Friday night. No show.
Guess what? I've seen that show. I watched the whole thing.
I've heard it was pretty good.
It was really, 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 really good.
This is what he said about missing that show. Quote,
Okay.
I had a family situation that I needed to attend to. As you know, my family, my kids are my priority. The situation was involving them, and that's why I decided to take care of business and take care of my family situation. And that's all that happened. And that comes to what I was just saying to you. I know people wanted to know absolutely everything. This only concerns my family, my parents, my sister, myself, and my kids. And that's the way it's going to stay. I think he's covering up something there.
I think he is covering up a lot. It's also almost like he blocked out the truth.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. So yeah, because originally the main event for Impact's pay-per-view Redemption was going to be Austin Aries versus Alberto El Patron, which has...
And the funny thing is, like, so it was main event time, right?
Yeah.
And it was, who was on commentating table? It was Matt and...
Matt Stryker and... was it Josh Matthews?
Yes, it was Josh Matthews. Of course it was, thank you. And who's from Lucha Underground again?
Matt Stryker? Yeah, Matt is.
Matt goes like, so Josh, we have heard we had to do something else for the main event. And it was like and Matt's and Joshua are like sitting there, like, yeah. Yes, the champion Alberto Del Rio is not here.
Wow.
And I was laughing so fucking loud when I was watching this because, okay, I will give it some criticism.
Okay.
For first of all, the sound from the ring, like if people were talking in microphones in the ring, you could not hear it on the show.
Wow.
You could not hear it on the recording. And it was so obvious in the main event of the show that because they did a three-way instead of what they were going to do.
Right.
And it was so impromptu, and you saw that. But it was such a great match, and it was so much fun to watch. I actually think it's the best thing TNA has done in many years.
Well, I'll tell you what, Fro. That triple threat match that you saw last week is now the main event for the Redemption pay-per-view.
No, really?
Yes, it is.
Oh, cool.
And because of that, I might end up ordering that pay-per-view.
Yeah, I mean, I was extremely surprised how good TNA handled the situation Alberto Del Rio's put them in.
Mm-hmm.
Because they also, they joked about it on commentary.
Right.
I mean, he brought it up, and it was definitely, Matt was really digging him, putting him under. And it's and they were sitting there, it's hey, we haven't spoken in so many years. It's so much fun to be together again. And you can hear the other commentators going yeah, it's super nice to be here with you. I missed you so much.
Okay, I'm looking at the card for Redemption. And with the exception of one match, this is a good-looking card.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, because now we have the triple threat main event.
Mm-hmm.
Allie faces Su Yung for the Knockouts title. That could be a good match.
That's going to be a super match. It was really good.
Matt Sydal faces Petey Williams for the X Division title.
Uh-huh.
And this is where it loses about a point or two. LAX versus Eli Drake and Scott Steiner. Oh. Why are you bringing it back? Does Scott Steiner have some hold?
Steiner was on the TNA show for WrestleMania as well.
And he was teaming up with Teddy Hart. What the hell?
Yeah. Well, it was really, really bad. That was the worst match of the night. I will give credits out where credits due, and I think if you block out that kind of match, other than that, it was really, really good.
And the final match that they have is a 6-man match that's going to be contested under House of Hardcore rules. Moose, Eddie Edwards, and Tommy Dreamer against OVE, which is the Christ brothers and Sami Callihan.
But I was so fucking surprised that Bobby Lashley was in WWE. But after such a long time with TNA, to be honest.
Yeah.
Did you think Lashley would come back to WWE like he did?
Not until
It was kind of out of nowhere.
Not until I had started hearing the rumors. Once I started hearing rumors, then it was
rumors.
There were rumors.
Come back on Monday.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, okay.
But no, I mean it was a nice surprise. They timed it right.
Yeah, definitely. But here's the little sad thing. I really hope he gets shaken up and moved to SmackDown, because they need him more on SmackDown than they need him on Raw, actually.
Well, I'll tell you, this coming week, Monday and Tuesday, with the shake-up, that's going to be interesting to see how that turns out.
I'm going to guess, because I heard some rumors that The Undertaker will have a match at the biggest Royal Rumble.
Right, which he is.
Against Rusev?
I guess you have not heard. That got changed now.
Oh, okay.
It is now Undertaker versus Chris Jericho in a casket match.
Oh, holy shit, that's a good match.
That's going to be pretty entertaining.
I will guess nobody will block that out. That seems like a tremendously good match. But yeah, ladies and gentlemen, I am not feeling good, because let's tell the story what happened to me.
Yeah. So I get a message on Saturday from Fro's girlfriend, who lives in England, and she sends me a message. She's like, Fro's in the hospital. And I'm thinking to myself, oh no. So Fro messaged me, and we talked a little bit, and basically, Fro had to have his appendix taken out. Because that night, Fro and I were gonna talk on Skype and we were gonna watch Takeover.
No, I was standing in the kitchen. I was eating a piece of bread, and I suddenly had this sharp pain in the right side of my stomach, and I thought it was gas. So I went to bed and I lay down, and I was like, "Nope, this is not gas." I was laying there. I was like, "It hurts." So I called the emergency, and I was like, "Can I talk to a doctor?" Because I thought it was nothing.
Yeah.
I thought it was like he would just say, "Take 2 painkillers and sleep on it." And I was like, "This is hurting a little too much." And they were like, "Okay, we will send you a taxi." And then they sent me a taxi, and Margaret was so lovely, keeping me company. I was so much pain waiting for the taxi. I could not fucking sit in the staircase waiting for the taxi. Margaret was telling me jokes and making me sing and keeping me company, so I would focus on something else than my pain. And I was laying in the backseat of the taxi, sent me to the emergency, and the doctor's like, "Yeah, I want to talk to a surgeon." and the surgeon sent me to gastro emergency, and then they send me from gastro emergency down to CT, where I had a contrast fluid through my body that showed them that my appendix was ready to burst. So I was operated at 11-12 at night. So I was finished operating, and I woke up, and 15 hours out from that, I was out of the hospital. So I'm not in. From 7 to 12. I was in operation. So I wasn't. I'm not 110%.
Right.
So we're going to talk about NXT and how good it was. We will not go through every match, but how good was NXT? You will talk about it when I'm gone, but I need just say two words about it.
I will say to you that was perhaps the best takeover they have done.
No, not perhaps. It was the best.
It was also the longest too. It almost went 3 hours.
Yeah, but
it has a good reason. It's the night before WrestleMania.
Yeah, and you will go through the matches.
Oh yeah, I will. I will give my thoughts. So let's.
But, all over, I will give NXT 9 out of 10. But
so that'd be an A for you.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Okay.
An A plus.
Okay.
So WrestleMania, I saw 2 matches, then I went to sleep.
Now, did you end up watching the rest of it eventually?
Yes.
Okay. So we have ratings for myself, and maybe Fro does. We also have ratings from Dave Meltzer, who put out his newsletter yesterday. I guess it was that loaded that it had to be put out yesterday. And also,
you wouldn't block that out.
And also, we have ratings from CBS Sports and ESPN because, they're there. Okay, so let's begin. The first match, what we're going to do the pre-show matches, was the Andre the Giant Memorial Battle Royal. 30 guys were in it. I'm not going to go through everybody because it would take up too much time. it ended up getting down to Matt Hardy, Mojo Rawley, and Baron Corbin, and then all of a sudden Bray Wyatt's effects came into play, and Bray Wyatt is in the ring, and he attacks Mojo and Corbin, and they eventually get eliminated, and after like a brief moment or two where they're like, we're not sure if Bray's in this match or not, they called for the bell, and Matt Hardy, surprisingly to me, because I didn't think he would win it after the previous Monday, won the Andre the Giant Memorial Battle Royal. Although I'm happy.
But what is this? Is this just me, or was this better than it was supposed to be? I really, really, really enjoyed this year's.
Honestly, I thought it was an average Battle Royal. I mean, except for the ending. The ending was a good ending. I liked the ending, so I'm going to give that a C+.
Oh, I will give this a B-.
Okay. Well,
I thought it was much better than it was supposed to be, and I also thought that Matt Hardy was a huge surprise, and I kind of blocked him out of my mind when I was thinking of people that could win it. But after I have blocked him out of my mind, yeah.
All right. Dave Meltzer gave this 1.5 stars. CBS Sports gave this a C, and ESPN gave this 1 3/4 out of 5. So the next match was the final match in the Cruiserweight title tournament, Cedric Alexander against Mustafa Ali. How did you feel on this match?
This was also a tremendously good pre-show match. I was a little sad that this was not on the main card, to be honest. This deserved to be on the main card. I think it told a great story. Those two can wrestle.
Yeah.
I think it was a little sad that they went with the easy option. I was hoping they would go with Mustafa Ali. And how good was his intro? Jesus
I liked that. That was really good.
That was really one of the best intros of the night. With like, it looked a little like Ready Player One.
I could I could. I mean, I've seen the previews. I could see that.
Yeah. So it looked like he had a PlayStation headset. You know those you have in from virtual reality thing.
Right.
Yeah. But yeah, no, this was so good. Like, incredibly good again in before the main card.
I enjoyed the match. I guess I was a little disappointed in the ending, maybe because I thought it was rushed a little bit.
Yeah.
I think if they had gotten a little bit more time, it would have gotten a higher grade for me. But it was good, and I'd like to see those two again in a match.
And it also feels like they are actually putting energy into 205 and making it its own brand, that they're not just blocking it out. They're not trying to block it. So that's good.
I gave this a C+.
I gave this a B- again.
All right. Meltzer gave this match 3 stars. CBS Sports gave it a B+, and ESPN rated it 3.25 out of 5. So now we go to the final kickoff show match, which was the Women's Battle Royal. They got short of the 3 matches, surprisingly, this was the shortest on time. I did not realize that.
Yeah, I was a little disappointed in that. But still, really, really good. Like, okay, I will give this. I will say this. There's a before and after John Cena WrestleMania for me.
Mm-hmm.
I will spoil it right now. It's before and after John Cena WrestleMania for me. All before John Cena was really, really good, and I really enjoyed this as well. This was really good, and I like the winner.
Yeah, so it comes down after they eliminate the Riot Squad. It comes down to Sasha and Bayley, and Sasha puts her hand up, trying to shake hands with Bayley, and Bayley tosses her out to this huge ovation.
So good. I was so happy when she did that.
That is, until we realized Naomi never got eliminated. Which I completely forgot.
Yeah.
And Naomi ends up eliminating Bayley. Naomi, the first winner of the Women's Battle Royal. I'm not upset with who won it. I'm fine with Naomi winning it. If I had my grievance, which I do in this one, it would just be how it was won.
Yeah. I liked it, though. I liked that it was such a swerve. I liked when they surprised us. So I was happy with this.
So I'm going to give this a C+ as well.
And I'm going to give this a B- again.
All right.
B- guy, that's my name.
Yeah. Meltzer gave this 1.5 stars. CBS Sports gave it a B-, and ESPN rated this 1.5 out of 5.
Mm-hmm.
So we go to the main show. We kick off with whoever those 2 women are that are considered the future of music, singing America the Beautiful. And I have to be honest, Fro, and I'm honestly, folks, I'm not being sexist when I say this, but one of those women looked like they were one of those robot sex toys. I honestly thought that was a robot sex toy.
Oh my God.
They were okay singers. They weren't. If they're the future, all I'm going to say is, if they're the future of music, we're screwed, man. We are screwed.
How do you know what the sex robot is? Do you have one?
No. Well, have you seen those reports on Facebook?
You have one, don't you?
No, I don't. And if I did, I'd be so afraid of, if my nephews discovered it. If I had one. But
reports. Okay.
Anyway, let's get to the main card. Opening match, triple threat match for the Intercontinental title. Miz defending against Seth Rollins and Finn Balor. I'll let you start on this one.
Yes. I thought this was a big match. I was a little surprised. I will say this right now. The card of WrestleMania, the way it was stacked, it was so fucking weird.
Really?
Yes.
Okay, go ahead.
I do think this told a good story. It was a really, really, really good opening match. I thought I'm not angry that Rollins went over.
Oh no!
But it feels like, how can I explain this? It feels a little like Finn Balor almost was blocked out of the conversation. Like he wasn't talked about. Like, on Facebook, you can block people and
right.
stuff like that.
Right.
Right. And I feel like he was kind of blocked out of of the match, I didn't feel like I saw him enough.
I thought this was a good match. I think when you have the time that you have to start off WrestleMania, you want to try to get everything in as much as you could. One thing I liked was that The Miz told Bo Dallas and Curtis Axel to stay in the back. He did that during his entrance. And he wanted to do this match on his own, which, if you, to give the character credit where credit is due. So, I mean, it was a good match. I got no complaints about who won or how it ended. I could see your point about how Finn Balor might have been ignored in the match. But I think down the line, we're going to get Rollins and Balor for the Intercontinental title down the line. I mean, we already know that Miz is going to face Rollins at Backlash, because that was said the next night on Raw. So I think after that, at some point, you have to have Rollins and Balor for the Intercontinental title. But I gave this a B.
I gave this a B+.
All right. Meltzer rated this 3.5 stars. Are you ready for this one? CBS Sports rated this an A-.
Yeah, I can see why.
I don't know if it's A- though. I don't know.
I like that.
ESPN gave this 4.25 out of 5. So not too shabby there. Next was the SmackDown Women's Title match. Charlotte Flair defending against Asuka. I liked Charlotte's entrance. Oh, that was really good.
So good.
That might have been my favorite entrance of the night.
It wasn't mine.
Alright.
But it was up there. It was up there. I think Mustafa Ali was maybe the best.
Okay. This ended up being Charlotte's best match, in my opinion.
So good.
Oh, this was great.
This is like, if this was Charlotte or if it was Asuka, I will not go into. But Asuka elevated that fucking match so fucking much. Like, she was amazing.
This match told a great story of you have maybe not even arguably, the two best women's wrestlers the WWE has today in a match for a championship at a WrestleMania. And those two almost tore the house down. There's another match that tore the house down, but this one was real close to doing it. Very good back and forth match. The complaint that I was hearing, and it's not my complaint, because I didn't have a problem, was the ending of the match, how Charlotte was able to put the figure 8 on with only one arm, and Asuka just tapped. I don't see what the problem is. They had a hard-fought battle. Charlotte is selling the one arm being injured.
Yeah.
And Asuka's selling the leg being hurt. So
no. It was amazing storytelling from A to B. This is maybe my contender of the best match of the evening.
All right. I gave this a B+.
I gave this an A-.
Meltzer gave this 4 stars. CBS Sports gave this an A-, and ESPN gave it a 4 out of 5. So, we've had 2 good matches. And then we go to our bathroom break, because it is the Fatal 4-Way for the U.S. Championship. Randy Orton against Bobby Roode, Rusev, and Jinder Mahal.
Boo this match.
Told you guys Jinder was gonna win. I told you guys. I hate to say I told you so, but I told you so.
It's almost so it doesn't make it even better.
I know. This match did nothing for me.
Yeah, no, this was terribly storytelling, terribly result, and a terrible match.
I gave it a C.
Really? I gave this a D.
You know what? I'll bump it to a C minus. How about that?
I was like...
Alright. Meltzer gave this 2 3/4 stars.
Yeah.
CBS Sports gave this a C plus.
Mm-hmm.
I have no idea where that comes from. And ESPN gave it 1 3/4 out of 5.
That's saying something.
Then we had the best commercial for WrestleMania weekend, and no, it was not the 85 times we saw Paige's movie trailer fighting in
John Cena.
Oh my... Cena's wasn't bad. That had a good purpose. Paige's... Oh my god. Okay, folks, if you have not seen... Okay, this was played at the Hall of Fame. This was played at TakeOver twice.
Yep.
This was played at WrestleMania. So it starts with Paige introducing herself very awkwardly, and she talks about a scene from her a movie about her family and her life called Fighting with the Family, which I had heard about. So the scene is her and her brother go backstage. Apparently they're doing some tryout for WWE, and The Rock is there. And The Rock, like, they ask The Rock, could you give them, pointers on what to do? And The Rock just cuts a Rock promo on the both of them. And then at the end, and then he's like, and that's how you get the crowd. And then once you get the crowd, you're good. Oh my God, Fro, I'm gonna be honest with you. I would have rather have taken a KFC commercial over this.
That's the worst thing Paige has done since Alberto Del Rio.
Wow. But you know what? Okay, but here's...
I went there.
Okay, but here's the thing, though. I would give this movie a chance if I saw more clips. If I see more clips, maybe I'd give it a shot. Maybe.
I will see it when I'm extremely drunk or have nothing else to see.
But the best commercial, I thought, was Tyler Breeze and Fandango. They're in their office.
That was so funny.
Oh, this is so good. And they have Mick Foley. And this is the first time Foley's been on TV since he, quote-unquote, got fired as being the GM of Raw. And Fandango's like, wearing flannel is not fashionable. Wearing sweatpants is not fashionable. And then you see Tyler Breeze is like, Fandango, it actually is fashionable. And he's wearing sweatpants. And Fandango's like, no! And it's a commercial for Snickers, but it was really good. I enjoyed that one. So, now we go to the match that should not have been as good as it was.
Yeah, why was this so good? Holy shit, this was good.
The mixed tag team match, Triple H and Stephanie McMahon versus Kurt Angle and Ronda Rousey. And
again, I ask you, why was this so darn good?
Oh boy. I tell you, it's not from Kurt or Triple H, I'll tell you that much.
No, but Ronda.
Holy crap.
Really surprised me.
Holy crap.
She's going to be huge in WWE. You know that, right?
Oh, yeah. So the referee, and I want to point this out to everyone. The referee for this match is Drake Warts, who is the senior ref for NXT. And Fro, you will never know how proud I was when I saw him refereeing a match at a WrestleMania, because I interviewed him almost 7 years ago for a CZW show where he was the main event of that show. He was one of the coolest guys I have ever talked to. I mean, you've got southern accents, but this man has a southern accent. But, oh my God, I was so happy. It was like, a wrestler I interviewed ends up being a part of WrestleMania. That's absolutely amazing.
And how is this the match of the night? Because it was the match of the night.
Oh yeah, this was the match of the night.
But how is that possible? And I will give this to Rhonda. I have never seen someone with so little training do so amazing things in the ring.
That is perhaps the most hyped debut match of anybody in the history of wrestling.
Yeah.
And she delivered.
Oh.
And I'll tell you where this match is good for 2 reasons. One, the storytelling is very, very good on everybody's parts. I know I said, Kurt and Hunter didn't do their part, but that was sort of jokingly. They told a good story. And then when Rhonda comes in and the place goes crazy when she gets tagged, and Stephanie's like, oh shit, I've got to get in there.
Mm-hmm.
It was so great. And then Rhonda, she doesn't look like she had her first match. She looks like she's been around a few years.
She looked like a seasoned professional.
Mm-hmm. She did.
And how is that possible for the first match? Incredibly good. I gave this an A+.
Wow.
Yeah.
My only concern, before I give my grade, is that after such a big match, Ronda's next 2 or 3 matches, I'm so afraid it's going to fall flat. I'm so afraid.
Depends who she is facing.
True. I'm going to change my grade on this one. I had it at a B+. I'm going to give it an A-.
Okay.
Only because of how good this match was. It should not have been as good as it was.
But WrestleMania from now on...
Meltzer gave this 4.25 stars.
Mm-hmm.
CBS Sports gave it an A, and ESPN gave it 4 out of 5.
But now the tales of 2 WrestleMania starts for me.
You could make a good point on that one. Next match is the triple threat match for the SmackDown Tag Team titles. The Usos against New Day versus the Bludgeon Brothers.
This was just bad.
Yeah, this was not good.
This was just bad.
This actually, I'm looking at it now, is the...
Have you skipped the Undertaker match?
No.
Is that the next match?
That's the next one.
Oh, okay.
This was the second shortest match of the entire pay-per-view. This triple threat match.
Right.
There's really nothing to write home about, except the Bludgeon Brothers won. They were the tag champs. And you know what? Nothing against the Usos, but they need to have those belts off of them for right now. Just for right now. Because they've been carrying that division for the last year and a half. So, I gave it a C-.
Oh, I gave this a C- as well.
Alright. Excuse me. Meltzer gave this 2 stars. CBS Sports gave this a C, and ESPN gave it 2.25 out of 5. So now we're going to get to this part because we have to do the setup first. John Cena comes out, thinking he's got a match against The Undertaker. Because earlier in the show, a referee ran into the crowd to tell Cena he's here, and Cena probably broke the Superdome record for the 200.
I've never seen John Cena run so fast in my entire life.
No, I've never. So he comes out, and then another referee comes out, and he's like, he's not here. So this makes Cena mad. Then the lights go off, and it's like, okay, could this be him? Then we get the strum of a guitar, and it's Elias. And this was
so funny.
It was placed so well.
It was so good.
It's placed.
I really like this part. But,
So he does a song. Then Cena beats him up. And Cena goes to the back thinking, okay, he's not going to come. And then the lights come out again.
Dong.
Yep. And then we see the hat and the coat in the middle of the ring, like at the end of last year. And lightning, quote unquote, strikes, and it disappears.
And it's gone.
It's gone. And then Undertaker's music hits, and we get The Undertaker.
So good.
And that's about the only good thing about this match. Because
the match was so fucking short.
Shortest match of the night. Not even 3 minutes. If you want to know the offense, it was strike, 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 old school, choke slam. Cena does a move to get to the 5-knuckle shuffle, and then Undertaker hits him with a tombstone. Taker wins.
He does.
Now, the only reason I gave this match the grade that I'm about to say is because of the setup. If you didn't have the setup, this would have gotten a lower grade. I gave it a C.
Oh, I gave it a D.
Alright. Meltzer rated this 1.25 stars. CBS Sports gave it a C-, and ESPN gave it a 1 out of 5.
Mm-hmm.
So, after that, we have another tag team match. Daniel Bryan and Shane McMahon against Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn.
Boo this match.
Really?
Yeah, boo.
Alright, tell me why you booed this match.
The result was weird. I liked Daniel Bryan, but this was really, really weird.
I liked the beginning of the match, where, they take out Daniel Bryan, but there were points where, when Shane's watching or in the match, and I'm thinking to myself, there's no way a guy who just had diverticulitis should be in a match. There really should not be a reason why he's in there, but Shane's a trooper. It's WrestleMania, he knows it's WrestleMania, and he does the match. So I'm not going to bash him for that. Daniel Bryan got the win with the yes lock on Sami Zayn. I thought the match was good. I can understand, why you didn't like the match. I gave it a B-.
Oh, I give this a C+.
Alright, so we're about same ballpark. Meltzer rated this 3.5 stars. CBS Sports gave it a B, and ESPN gave it 2.75 out of 5. Very interesting that they would rate that so low.
Mm-hmm.
Then we had the Raw Women's Championship, Alexa Bliss defending against Nia Jax.
Also a bad match.
It was. It wasn't the worst.
No, but it was the rest of the women's matches.
Okay, I'd agree with you on that statement. I'd agree with you on that. I think only... It told a story. It did tell a story. But, and I hate to say this. I hate to be sounding like one of those people who isn't a fan of wrestling, who's saying, "Oh, there's no way this little person could beat this big person." That's sort of what that felt like. It's like you knew going in, there's no way Alexa Bliss is going to beat Nia Jax. It was a decent match. I'm not going to bash the women. They gave it their best shot. I gave it a C.
Oh, I gave this a C minus.
Okay. Meltzer gave this 2 3/4 stars. CBS Sports gave it a B minus, and ESPN. Oh my God, are you kidding me? ESPN gave this 3 1/4 out of 5.
Oh, holy shit. That's awful.
Wow, they gave that a lot more than it should have been.
Yeah.
Then we go to the first half of the double main event. The WWE Championship on the line, AJ Styles defending against Shinsuke Nakamura. This was easily, to the fans, the most hyped match of WrestleMania.
I'm so disappointed.
Because it's the rematch.
I was so disappointed. Why did none of the two people show up for WrestleMania? This felt like a B match on a B show. Why didn't they do something with this? Like, I was so hyped for this. I had this one of my most anticipated matches of WrestleMania, and it disappointed from the get-go.
Fro, if I could use a cliche with movies, sometimes the sequel is not as good as the original. And I think to a lot of people, like yourself, it did not deliver. But I watched that match, and I'll be honest, because Fro, you didn't have to stay up to see it. You got to sleep through it.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know how I had the energy to watch the entire show. I never fell asleep once or was falling asleep. I don't know. But you know what? I didn't think it was that bad of a match. I can understand where everyone's thinking, oh, where was this? Where was that? I can understand. But I thought it was good enough. I mean, it's not going to go down as one of the greatest title matches of all time. But it was good enough to pass. AJ got the win with the Styles Clash, which you really don't see that much nowadays. I want to give my grade now because I want to get to what happens after you and I give our grade. I give this a B.
Ooh, I give this a C.
Alright. Now, after the match, Nakamura gets the belt, and he's going to present the belt to Styles. Like, okay, you beat me.
Best heel turn ever.
This is out of nowhere. Because he gives him the belt, Nakamura goes on one knee, and he low blows Styles, and it was set up so perfectly, Fro, because all I had been hearing going up to WrestleMania, even, you and Jason talked about it last week, was, oh, Daniel Bryan or Shane McMahon, they're going to turn on each other. It never happened. It was Nakamura, and it was so good of a heel turn that you never saw it coming. And those are the best turns, are the ones you never see coming. And they got the reaction that they were hoping for, which was the crowd booing Nakamura out of the building. And it was so good.
Yep.
I am ready for heel Nakamura in the U.S.
And I must say his interview on SmackDown is...
Oh, that was so good! That was so good!
Yeah, it was really good.
Sorry, I don't speak English. Oh man, that was great. Meltzer gave this match 3 3/4 stars. CBS Sports gave it a B, and ESPN gave it 3 1/4 out of 5.
Cool. I gave this.
You said it. Okay.
Or a C.
Yeah, you said a C.
C, I gave it that.
And then we go to this next match.
Okay, goodbye, Bill.
Oh, you're gonna stop here?
Oh, good. This is so shit.
Okay, I'm gonna defend this one, actually. Because the match is Cesaro and Sheamus against Braun Strowman and a mystery partner. So, we had, I think last week, we had all agreed that Elias was at least in the discussion. Well, it wasn't Elias. There had been rumors, maybe it's going to be Rey Mysterio. He didn't show up on the show. There were rumors that it could be Samoa Joe. He didn't show up on the show. There were rumors that maybe it was Bobby Lashley. He didn't show up on the show. So Braun grabs the mic, and he's like, "You guys don't know my mystery partner. My mystery partner is you. And you. And you." So he's pointing to the fans. So basically, he's going to pick somebody out of the audience to be his partner. So, and you gotta think, this is, at this point, about a 4-hour show. There are people that are drunk, and they're like, "I want to be your partner! I want to be your partner!" So, Braun keeps looking, and he passes by a couple of wrestlers who are in suits watching this, and I'm thinking, oops, they probably didn't want to be seen. And he ends up picking a kid. He ends up picking this kid. They go in the ring. They're like, "Get in the ring! Get in the ring!" And he goes in the ring. So he asks, the kid, what's his name? His name is Nicholas. And he's like, "Nicholas is going to be my partner. You just stay in the corner. I'll do the rest. I'll tell you when to do your thing." So we have the match. Braun does most of the work, as you would imagine. And then Nicholas gets a Nicholas chant. He gets tagged in the ring to a huge ovation. Then he sees Cesaro. Cesaro makes a face. Nicholas is scared. He tags Braun back in. Braun power slams Cesaro, and we have new tag team champions.
And this is the son of the referee.
Yes, we later find out it is a son of a WWE referee. Fro, my first thought was, I hope to God this is not a Make-A-Wish kid. Because if it is...
No, it was the son of the referee in the match.
No, I know, but I was saying that my first thought before, seeing this was, I hope it wasn't a Make-A-Wish kid, because if it was, if that kid ended up dying, there'd be such a lawsuit on their heads. But I did like what happened the next night, where they have to give up the tag team titles
because he has to go to school.
Because of conflicting schedules. That was great. I gave this a question mark, to be honest.
Yeah, I gave a question mark too as well. This is silly. It's unrateable because it's so stupid.
It is silly. You know what? I think every once in a while humor is needed in wrestling, and for me, I did find this humorous. I really did.
Oh, okay.
But Meltzer gave this 1 star. I'm sure some people are like, how did this not get a dud? CBS Sports gave this a C, and ESPN gave this a 1 out of 5. And you know what? I'm going to say something else real quick before we get to the main event. And I want to ask you the same thing. When you saw this kid, did you think that kid was a girl? I thought that was a girl.
No.
Really? You didn't think you didn't think it was a girl?
Have you ever seen a girl?
I work with kids, Fro. I've seen it's the hair. It was the hair.
Okay.
Alright. So now we go to the other half of the double main event, the Universal title match, Roman Reigns against Brock Lesnar. This was if this match goes on last, we're all going to leave the arena. I didn't see...
And holy shit, there was a lot of this is awful.
Yep.
CM Punk.
Mm-hmm. These fans did not give this match a chance.
And I can understand that, because guess what? This is the worst match of the night.
Ooh, okay.
I gave this an F.
Wow.
An F for failure.
Okay.
Awful.
Okay, there's, for me, 3 reasons why this match was not that good of a match. And I'm going to explain why. Number 1, the fans. Yes, I'm going against the fans on this one. Because I know it's Roman Reigns. People don't like Roman Reigns. I know it's Brock Lesnar. The diehard fans, like you and I, we've basically given up on Brock Lesnar at this point.
Mm-hmm.
But the match they had 3 years ago was really good. It was. Even with Seth getting added in the end. The fans in that building never gave this a shot. Never did.
And the result was a big,
Yeah.
What?
Number 2, I blame the way this match was on Brock Lesnar.
Yeah.
Because, as we've discussed in the past, when you have a Brock Lesnar match, you hope, okay, maybe we'll get something out of Brock. Maybe we will. Brock went out there and it looked like he was gonna kill Roman Reigns. It really did. Because it looked so unsafe. It looked so dangerous. He went to the German commentators, and the German commentators didn't even know what was going on. So I blamed that. And then number 3, and believe it or not, Roman Reigns is going to get a pass on this. He's really going to get a pass. I blame Vince McMahon. Because how long, Fro, have we said on this show the Brock Lesnar being champion part-time job shtick has failed? How many times we must have said that 100 times.
Mm-hmm.
And yet, Vince, mid-match, this is the report that I read, because originally Roman Reigns was going to win this match. Midway through the match, Vince says in his ear, because he's got the ear stuff, he changes the ending of the match. Brock is now going over. And there's one point where Brock does the elbows to Roman's head, and Roman is bleeding like a pig.
I thought it was a blade job at the beginning. I was like, it looked really like it was bleeding.
And Roman, I said this on a group, Fro. I said, can we put Roman's head on the body of Carrie from the movie? Because that's what he looked like. He looked like Carrie after she had the pig blood dropped on her. Brock ends up winning, keeps the Universal title, And then after the video package, we go back to the arena. Roman is still being attended to. He kisses his wife, kisses her child. And then this part I did not hear. But this is what Meltzer said. The last sentence of this review of the match. I think as he was leaving, you could hear Reigns' father say, "When is he going to lay down for you?" And for those who don't know who Roman Reigns' dad is, his dad is Sika, one half of the Wild Samoans.
Oh,
I gave, because there was some good stuff in there, I'm going to give this a C.
Yeah, I give this an F. I hated this match. I didn't want to see it, and I didn't want the result.
Meltzer gave this 3 stars. CBS Sports gave this a B+. And ESPN gave it a 3 out of 5. And that is the coverage for WrestleMania. I want to do quickly before I let you go, Fro.
Yes.
Our grading. A lot of people voted, which I'm really glad for. And one thing I want to say that I'm really proud of with our group was how interactive we were during WrestleMania. And one reason was because I wanted to try this to be different because, you know, I had been asked, you know, why is this group not as active? So I took it upon myself to be like, you know what? Let's see what happens here. And we had good conversations throughout the night. It was very fun, so I think we're going to keep doing that from now on. It doesn't matter if it's WWE, Ring of Honor, TNA, whatever. So, in our voting, we have a tie with B's and C's. We had 2 people give it a D, 2 people gave it an A, and 1 person gave it an F.
An F was it definitely not.
Oh no.
I will give this a C. But it's a really strong C.
Mm-hmm.
It's a 3+, C+.
I had fun watching this show. And I'm not saying it's the best WrestleMania I've ever seen, because we did that list last week. This was a fun WrestleMania. You had surprises, you had good matches, and you had shocking moments. So I'm going to give this a B, and it's a strong B. So, I want to read a couple of replies to this. Joe Sago wrote, I am usually a very harsh critic of the WWE, which he is. Believe me, he is. But I do have to give them credit for this WrestleMania. If you could erase a kid winning the tag belts, it might have been damn near perfect. Amit wrote, Brock winning was a joke. Undertaker match, bigger joke. Naomi winning makes no sense. Matt Hardy gig is terrible. Matt Hardy gig is horrible. WWE did so-so, but Asuka and Nakamura losing was best decisions.
Best decisions.
Best decisions. And Ed wrote between a D+ and a C-. Alright, your favorite match from WrestleMania?
My favorite match, it has to be the mixed match.
The Mixed Match Challenge.
Mixed Match Challenge, yeah.
This is actually pretty tough. I'm gonna agree with you. I'm gonna say the mixed tag match, but it's very, very close. Like, that match and Charlotte and Asuka It's very, very close. In our voting, Charlotte and Asuka was voted the best match, the favorite match from WrestleMania, followed by the mixed tag match, then the IC triple threat match, and the WWE title match got a vote. Then we go to least favorite. I already know what yours is. You said it, so...
yeah, it's the main event.
You know what? I'm going to go against the grain. Because I like to be different sometimes. I'm going to go the SmackDown Tag Title match. It did nothing for me. I could go the easy way and say the U.S. title match, but that SmackDown Tag Title match, I was thinking, this is going to be at least decent. It was nothing. It really was nothing. As far as the poll goes, this was actually real close. Cesaro and Sheamus against Braun Strowman and Nicholas leads by 1 vote over Roman Reigns and Brock Lesnar. That's how close it was. Alright, any last words you want to put in, Fro, before I let you go?
Check out another digital sits on any place where you can.
Yep.
And I will see you all next week.
Alright,
better.
We will talk to you all next week.
And uncut.
Right.
Bye.
Bye. So, while I'm in transition from WrestleMania to the next event I'm going to be reviewing, I want to give a couple of shout-outs to some wrestling podcasts that I want you guys to check out. The first one, I always talk about them all the time. Our Vantage Point, the Retro Wrestling Podcast. Michael Quinn, Joe Marotta. An absolute fun podcast to listen to each and every week. If you are a fan of the older wrestling, the stuff that we grew up on, check them out. They are hilarious. I've given them suggestions at times of Death Valley and Mount Rushmore stuff. I'm just waiting on the call from Michael and Joe to say, hey, Bill, how'd you like to be a guest on our show or a segment? I'm sort of waiting for that. But no, they are fun. Their show is a blast. Check them out. Our Vantage Point, the Retro Wrestling Podcast. The other podcast that I want to bring it up, and I've been meaning to do it for the last several weeks, but I haven't had a chance because I guess I keep forgetting, is the Wrestling Podcast About Nothing. It's hosted by Ring of Honor's Brian Malonis and Mike Crockett, independent referee who's on an extended hiatus. They talk about everything they talk about the world of wrestling. They give their thoughts, their likes, their dislikes. They have a topic each week. Maybe sometimes it's about what they've done in the business, and sometimes it's other stuff. They've had debates, they've had lists. Their 100th show recently was a roast of the show. I did not call in because, I could have been jerky, but I just didn't feel like going into it. But check them out, the Wrestling Podcast About Nothing with Brian Malonis and Mike Crockett. And if you listen to them, tell them, hey, Bill sent me to you guys. He's a fan of your show. Alright, I want to talk about real quick the WWE Hall of Fame ceremony from this past Friday night. All in all, I thought it was a good ceremony. Dudley Boys were good. Hillbilly Jim was good. I understood his speech, the whole thing about opportunity. I really understood that. It did feel a little long, but, it was good. I thought it was good. Ivory's speech, God bless the woman. She had a plan. She went through the speech. And then I think in the middle or towards the end, the fans and Ivory got married because she compared the Hall of Fame ring to a wedding ring. So I think we're all married to Ivory now, and we might have to get an alimony check at some point. I'm not really so sure, so you have to forgive me on that. Kid Rock, his speech was short. It was to the point. He did sneak a quick joke about slamming Democrats, but, that was really about it. I didn't like his outfit, though. It just, I don't know. He looked like Johnny Depp to me. He really did. If you haven't seen it, or if you have seen it, watch it again. Tell me he doesn't look like him. Jeff Jarrett had a really good speech. Very emotional. You could tell he was very emotional. Especially talking about Owen Hart. And surprisingly, it was not the last time we would hear Owen Hart's name during the ceremony. But I really liked Jeff's speech. And then after that, Road Dogg came out, and they were trying to do a karaoke version of With My Baby Tonight, which, they tried. They really tried. It just didn't end up going so well. I think Zack Ryder was like, I don't listen to this music. I'm in the boy bands. So they tried their best doing that. The Warrior Award with Jarius Robertson, that was really funny. That kid is hilarious. Although, with all due respect, his suit looked like one of my mom's old bathroom towels when I was a kid. The pattern, it looked very, very weird. But he gave a very good speech. And I liked how, he's like, I got to see my favorite wrestler, Roman Reigns. Boo! Hey, take it easy on him. Take it easy on him. He's a good guy. He's a good guy. And they're my least favorite wrestler, The Miz. Oh, God. Him and The Miz. I'd like to see him and The Miz on, like, a future Raw. That'd be pretty funny. And then my favorite joke was how he was like, John Cena, I'm going to have a match at WrestleMania before you do. And that was so good. There was just so much good stuff. There really was. But Mark Henry's, to me, was the best speech of the night. Very emotional man. Wears his emotions on his sleeve, as you could tell. Told wonderful stories. And I'm actually trying to hold tears back, because I was holding them back when this happened Friday night. He talks about Owen Hart. And I was waiting in my mind for so long for someone to finally have the courage to do what he did, which was saying to Martha Hart, Owen's wife, it's time to let Owen be in the Hall of Fame. And he talked about how it's also time for Oj, which was Owen's son, to be in wrestling. This is his destiny. And I'll say this: that took a lot of courage from Mark Henry to do that, because we live in this politically correct world now today. And there aren't a lot of people who have the courage to go out of the PC world. And I was using quotation marks. I know you guys didn't see that. And what Mark Henry did was he went out of that PC world, that politically correct world, and said flat out, not only to Martha Hart, but to the whole world, Owen needs to be in the Hall of Fame. He should be in the Hall of Fame. And don't get me wrong. I understand Martha, she lost her husband. She lost her husband. She's never going to get her husband back. But at the same time, there's a time where you have to let go of your anger. There's a time where you have to say, I'm at peace. And it takes people longer than others. You know, it takes people sometimes longer to do that than it does other people. Owen should be in the Hall of Fame. He really should. One of the most beloved people by the wrestlers of all time. And the reason that the legacy of Owen Hart lives today is not only because of the wrestlers, but because of the fans. And I think Martha has tried to sort of be like, you know, that's not my husband's legacy. You know, I don't want my kids to be exposed to this. But it's so hard to not see what it is and, you know, keep your kids out of it. I know they're grown adults by now, but that took real courage from Mark Henry. It really did. And then he went into the whole sexual chocolate gimmick, which was really funny, hitting on Stephanie McMahon, which was hilarious. That was really good. Mark Henry, hands down, had my favorite speech of the entire Hall of Fame ceremony. That was my absolute favorite. And then the final one was Goldberg. I have no idea what was up with Goldberg's speech. It just seemed like he was making it about him. It was like me. And it just turned me off. And the speech just kept going and going and going. By this point, it's after midnight. And it's like, come on, just get this over with. It was like I enjoyed everybody else. You know, everybody was humble. Goldberg was like, hey, Hulk Hogan, you owe me one. Roman Reigns, you owe me one. I was a big deal. I'm a Georgia Bulldog. Georgia Tech sucks. I was an Atlanta Falcon. The New Orleans Saints suck. So, all in all, I enjoyed the ceremony. I really did. I know there are some who didn't like it, but come on. It's the one night of the year where the wrestlers are relaxed. They're dressed up. You know, they don't have to put on a persona. They got to have fun. So I put a poll up of what was your favorite speech or speeches at the Hall of Fame ceremony, and we had a tie between Jeff Jarrett and Mark Henry. Those were voted the best speech or speeches from WrestleMania weekend. Goldberg got a vote. I don't know how. And Jarius J.J. Robertson got a vote as well. I want to talk about some other news before I get into TakeOver. One of which is David Arquette. Yep, David Arquette. Somehow still trying to be relevant. He hopped the rail at an independent show during WrestleMania weekend in New Orleans, and I don't know if he was drunk or not. I saw the video. What he was saying made absolutely no sense whatsoever, and that was the end of that. Really was. And then the other thing, and this story really pissed me off. All of this pissed me off. At the WrestleCon convention over the weekend, Harry Smith, or Davey Boy Smith Jr., whatever you want to call him, confronts Jake the Snake Roberts. Now, from what I read, Jake Roberts had made comments on some podcasts about the British Bulldog, Davey Boy Smith. I don't know what they were. Whatever it was, it was. So, Davey Jr. was going to confront Jake to talk about it, and Jake's like, F off. So Harry basically throws a cup of hot coffee on Jake Roberts. And Harry gets out of the building before the cops could ever come. So Davey gets out of there before the cops come and stop him and question him. There's been no reports since. We don't know if Jake's going to press charges on him or not. But basically what Davey Boy Jr. committed was an assault on another individual. And look, if you're trying to fix a problem, I understand. I'm all for that. But the way he did it was the wrong way to go, and that's what pisses me off. Is that he took an object, in this case a cup of hot coffee, throws it in the guy's face and leaves. Someone should have stopped him. Hopefully he gets arrested and gets charged with this, because if he doesn't, it is an injustice, and in the words of Gorilla Monsoon, a miscarriage of justice will have been done. So, F Davey Boy Smith. Okay, so let's get into NXT TakeOver, which, let's be honest, folks, this was the show of the weekend. Hands down. This was the best show of the entire weekend. Like I said to Fro earlier in the beginning, the longest NXT TakeOver show yet. An almost 3-hour show. No complaining, just pointing that out. 5 matches, 4 of which were championship bouts. Let's get into it. The opening match was the 6-way ladder match for the brand new North American Championship. The competitors included EC3, Killian Dane, Velveteen Dream, Adam Cole, Lars Sullivan, and Ricochet. Now, I'm gonna actually back up a little bit, because I watched some of the pre-show, and they had Pat McAfee on. And for those who don't know who Pat McAfee was, he used to play in the National Football League and was a kicker. Oh my God, this guy comes off as such a douchebag. He really, really does. I did not like him one bit. And then there's one point where Charlie, because Charlie Caruso's the one that was doing it. Oh my God, first off, Charlie Caruso looked smoking hot at the Hall of Fame ceremony. Oh my God. Charlie, if you're listening, please hit me up. Join our Facebook group. I want to date you. But anyway, so one of the questions that she asked was, how you play through the pain. And she asks that to McPhee, and I'm thinking to myself, lady, this guy was an effing kicker. I don't think he ever felt pain. So anyway, this ladder match was insane. This match was insane. And it was fantastic. Everybody comes off great in this match. It's just action-packed. The bumps, the moves, the selling, the crowd was into it. Mauro Ranallo was at his best on this night. This was an absolute fantastic match, and it's amazing how the last TakeOver had perhaps the greatest NXT match of all time, Gargano and Almas. And then the next takeover, your opening match, could very well be right up there as the best NXT match of all time. This was a great match. It didn't matter to me who was going to win. It was going to make me happy. Adam Cole ends up winning the match and becomes the first NXT North American champion. A great choice, I thought. You could have gone with any of these 6. But Adam Cole getting the win, well deserved, becomes the first North American champion. I originally had this as an A, but I bumped it up. I gave this an A+. It was that good. Dave Meltzer, hold on to your seats, folks, gave this 5 stars. This is a 5-star match, and you know what? I can't argue with him whatsoever. CBS Sports gave this match an A+, and ESPN gave this 4.5 out of 5. There must be something about that they didn't like, that did not get that extra half. Next match was the NXT Women's title. Ember Moon defending against Shayna Baszler. This was another good match. I enjoyed this match. It told a completely different story. You could tell in this one that in this match, Shayna Baszler was going to get attacked. She was in pain. It was really well done. And at one point, she does this one spot where she tries to get her shoulder in place. And the only way she can do it is if she rams her shoulder into the steel post and gets it back in place, which was a really cool looking spot. I thought it was a very good match. I liked the ending. Baszler with that sleeper chokehold. Ember Moon never tapped out. She passed out from the pain. And Shayna Baszler, the new NXT Women's Champion. I gave this match a B+. That was a really entertaining match. Meltzer gave this 3.25 stars. CBS Sports gave this a B-. And ESPN rated it 3.5 out of 5. So now we go to the NXT Tag Team title match, which also happens to be the final match of the Dusty Rhodes Classic. And it's the Authors of Pain against Roderick Strong and Pete Dunne against Kyle O'Reilly and Adam Cole. Adam Cole gets taken out in the beginning of the match, so we don't get to see him again in this match. I thought this was a good match. I mean, it got the lowest grade, but it's not that it's a bad match. It was a good match. It told a good story. Authors of Pain were in control. Kyle O'Reilly was doing everything he could to keep the belt for his team. Strong and Dunn were this paired up team that really had no business being in it, but they got all the way to the finals. I thought it was a decent match. I really liked the ending because it looked like Pete Dunne was gonna win the match for his team. That he and Strong are gonna win the titles, and Roderick Strong attacks Pete Dunne from behind, and he puts Kyle O'Reilly over the body of Pete Dunne, and O'Reilly and Cole keep the tag team titles, and Roderick Strong joins Undisputed Era. Very well done. That was so good. Another good way of getting a turn where you never saw it coming. That's how good that was. I gave this match a B. Meltzer gave this 3.25. CBS Sports gave this a B, and ESPN gave it 3.25 out of 5. So then we go to the NXT title match. Aleister Black challenging Andrade Cien Almas. This was another good match, and this match told the story that it was basically 2-on-1. You had Zelina Vega in there. She was going to do everything she could to make sure her client, her man, kept the title by any means necessary. And this was another good match. I think if this had been on another takeover, this could have been the match of the night. Just very well done, very well paced. This was the best match for me where you could sort of believe Aleister Black could lose. I mean, that's about the closest it got. And it was really well done. I liked the end where Vega attempted, like, the fourth or fifth time to hit a move on Black. She got caught, and Almas had to rescue her, and then Aleister Black hits Black Mass to get the 3 count and to be the new NXT champion. This was a really good match. I enjoyed this one. Andrade Almas has improved tremendously. I think that's been said all over the place, but it's true. He has improved tremendously. I gave this match an A-. Meltzer rated this 4.25 star. CBS Sports gave this a B+, and ESPN gave this a 4 out of 5. And then we go to the final match, the main event of this show. Probably the most anticipated match of the entire weekend. Tommaso Ciampa against Johnny Gargano in an unsanctioned match. If Gargano wins, he gets his job back. If Ciampa wins, Gargano is banned from NXT forever. And this was a really good match. I really enjoyed it. The heat was there. You could feel it from the crowd. It was just really well done, beginning to end. It told a story. To me, and I know a lot of people were going crazy saying, "Oh my God, this was a match of the year, an incredible match." And I'm not saying it's not going to be a match of the year candidate, and I'm not saying that. There was something about this match, watching the match, where at times I felt, okay, are they going to do something? And I mean, they brought the violence out, and it was done very well. There was no blood. They didn't need to shed blood, and that's what can make a good match. And the near falls were there. It was very well done. And the ending was really good, because Gargano is gonna, he wants to hit Ciampa with a broken crutch. He really wants to, but he can't bring himself to do it. And then he tries to console Ciampa, and Ciampa tries a move, and Gargano does a stretch, and he uses Ciampa's knee brace on the face of Tommaso Ciampa, and that gets him to tap, and Johnny Gargano wins, gets his job back. You get a feel-good ending right there. I gave this match an A. I thought it was a really good match. It was the best. It was the match that had to end the show. Totally agree with that. Totally understand that. Meltzer gave this 5 stars. So we have 2 matches from WWE that got 5 stars on the same show. I'll have to check if any show has ever had that. CBS Sports gave this an A-, and ESPN gave this 4.75 out of 5. But yeah, this was an amazing show. This was fantastic. A fantastic show. Gonna go into the polls. What grade would you guys give this show? Most people gave it an A. And you know what? I am in agreement with them. This was a fantastic show from beginning to end. There really wasn't one bad match on this show. So I gave it an A. Favorite match from the weekend, or from that show, Most people went with Ciampa and Gargano. We have some votes for the ladder match, and we even have one vote for the NXT title match. I have to give my vote to the ladder match. That ladder match set the bar for the rest of the night. It was really well done. A very good match. And then, what was your least favorite match? It's a little hard to say because they were all good. But everyone went with the women's title match. I'm going to go different. I didn't get too big into the tag title match until the ending. The ending with the switch was really well done. So, all in all, very good. A very, very good NXT takeover from them. I also want to mention real quick, I did see the Cody Rhodes Kenny Omega match. I actually saw it live when it happened. That was a good match. Oh, that was such a good match. I haven't had a chance to see the whole show yet because it took me days to recover. But this was a really good match. I liked the ending, which makes you think, okay, there's still going to be a story with this quote-unquote civil war of the Bullet Club. It was just really well done. If I had to give it a grade, I'd give it an A-. It was really that good of a match. Meltzer gave this 4.25 stars out of 5, which is a very good grade, a very respectable grade. So, all in all, I liked this match. So, very well done. I want to bring up also, I want to bring up the people that got brought up on Raw and SmackDown. The returns real quick. Jeff Hardy, Lashley, like we talked about, and Samoa Joe. We know Samoa Joe's going to face Roman Reigns at Backlash. If that's for the Universal title or not, that's going to remain to be seen. Bobby Lashley looked like $1 million in his return. Jeff Hardy looked really good as well, too. So, but the debuts. Ember Moon, No Way Jose, and the Authors of Pain went to Raw. And then the iconic duo, Billie Kay and Peyton Royce, went to SmackDown. And I gotta say, of the debuts, Billie and Peyton had the best debut, hands down, with their segment with Charlotte and then the attack that they put on Charlotte. It put them over really well as heels. And Captain Marvelous, this is with all due respect. This is a much better version of Lay Cool than Lay Cool ever was. That's how much I like these two, especially Payne and Royce. Those two are going to be big for the women's division. I liked their debut. Their debut was my favorite. There really wasn't one that I didn't like. I mean, No Way Jose is No Way Jose. That's pretty much how you could put it. Ember Moon is really good. That was really good. Authors of Pain looked really good. It was a squash match, but they looked good. So pretty much everybody came off looking good in their debut this week. Also, Paige announced her retirement from in-ring competition, which is sad news considering she'd been in the main roster for WWE for only 4 years. I said 4 years, not 40. But, it sucks when something like that happens. Your dream is basically taken away. But it does end up being good news because Tuesday night she gets announced as the new general manager of SmackDown. So at least Paige is not going away anytime soon. So at least Paige is still going to be seen on programs every week. And then this coming Monday and Tuesday, the Superstar Shakeup, which is Raw's going to have people from SmackDown join the Raw brand, and SmackDown on Tuesday night, they're going to have people from the Raw brand join the SmackDown brand. So, going to be very, very interesting to see how that goes. I have no idea who's going to go where. Should be very fun to keep an eye out on. Alright, so that's going to do it for this week's episode. Do the quick plugs. You can follow the show on Twitter at Wrestling Show 11. You can follow me on Twitter at House of Bill. Join our Facebook group. It is That Wrestling Show Fan Group. Just type that in the search bar in Facebook and you are right there. And if for some reason you can't find it, don't worry. It's okay. The link is in the description box. It is right there. You just click on that and you add yourself into the group and you're more than welcomed to be a part of our group. Check out visit the website, thatwrestlingshow.com. Check out my Patreon page, patreon.com/Bill's World of Podcasts, where your support, your donations will help out not only this podcast, but some of the other podcasts that I do, including Untitled Movie Project, Nostalgia Crew, and Sharks Pond, a South Park podcast. And speaking of Sharks Pond, this week the episode that is going to be reviewed is The Death Camp of Tolerance. Yeah, that was quite an interesting episode, to say the least. Next week, I'm going to give you one final update on the Tribute to the Legends convention that I will be a part of next weekend. It'll be in Joppa, Maryland, presented by MCW Wrestling. For more information, you could go to mcwprowrestling.com. Check that out. Plus, gonna probably do a preview of the Redemption pay-per-view and maybe even the Greatest Royal Rumble. Who knows how that'll be. I just want to say one thing, and then I'm going to end the show for this week. This was such a wonderful weekend. This was such a wonderful weekend of professional wrestling, all over the place. A lot of fun. Not really too much to complain about. Right now, we are living in an era in professional wrestling that we have never seen before, where there's so much to see. We're closer than we've ever been, and this weekend just goes to show that wrestling fans are the greatest fans in the world. We're the most loyal, we're the most diehard, and we're also the most critical. I just think, what we saw last weekend was an absolute fun time had by all. I can't wait for next year's WrestleMania. That'll be up in the Meadowlands again. But you know what, folks? Being a wrestling fan, it's such a great thing. You get your mind off of stuff, all the bad things going on in the world. And I hope this podcast helps you guys go through any difficult times you're going through in your life, because that's what I want this show to be, and that's what I think wrestling fans should have, is to have fun. And this past weekend was a perfect example of why wrestling fans truly are the greatest fans in the world. They're the most diehard fans in the world, and it's just a blast to be a fan. I'm proud to say I am a fan of professional wrestling, and I hope you all are the same way too. Everybody have a good, safe rest of your week. Have a wonderful weekend. Be safe no matter what it is what you do. And when you're done doing whatever it is you do, come right back here next week for another episode of That Wrestling Show, the only podcast where all pro wrestling matters. And as we always say, wrestle on! Bye.